Well, hello, hello, hello. I'm saying extra hellos today because I'm in the holiday spirit. Welcome to the Coaching Business Spotlight Show. I'm your host, Kat Knecht, and today I am excited to share with you the many soul-driven strategies that are here to help you succeed in your business and your life. This is such a special time of year, don't you think? No matter what your spiritual or agnostic or whatever beliefs are around the Christmas part or the Hanukkah part or that piece. There's so many wonderful, wonderful ways that people all over the world celebrate something special this time of year. That's what I've discovered in all my training as an interfaith minister. And even here's a funny thing, my daughter and I we went to this spectacular Christmas market and lights event in Cambria, California this past weekend. And there were all these displays. So there are all kinds of lights and cool things, but there were all these very old vintage kind of displays of the way that this holiday season has been celebrated for so many years throughout the world, so many different ways. Anyway, I have a feeling for me, this is a time to celebrate. It's a time to enjoy some downtime. And then it's New Year's Eve. I love New Year's Eve. Something about that being able to let go, that sense of, okay, whatever's happened this year, it's done. Yay. And now I have the opportunity to create something new. It's funny. And something new are some funny things that happen on my Zoom camera if you're watching this. I love this time of year so much so that my husband Curtis and we got married on New Year's Eve 18 years ago because we wanted to celebrate what we had. Part of what I think around New Year's Eve is you celebrate what you have. And we were celebrating what we created in our relationship with our family, with our business, and then we were letting go of things, ways that we had been. In that sense, it was about having been single. Now we were no longer. There's something about it that symbolized to us this wonderful opportunity to begin something new. Now, my love of New Year's goes way back. I have so many stories to tell. I think I have two that I've planned for today. This is a two-part series. So today and this podcast and the next podcast that follows are all about visioning. And they're just me. I'm flying solo. I'm not going to have a guest. I really wanted to hog the mic all to myself because I love this topic. I wanted to talk to you about it. I want to share some stories of mine and leave you with some ideas about how you can do your visioning this year. Because over the years, I have learned more and more about creating my New Year's vision and intention, and I'm going to say specifically creating the New Year's vision, intention, and the goals and all the things that go with it in a way that actually helps me to create my life from them, not just as a fun exercise over a day or a week, or I actually have learned how to do it. So now it's like, oh, I have the steps. I know how to take the steps and I take them so that my vision is really what I want. It's what's right for me right now. It inspires me, helps me move forward. So here are some stories, and this is one. This is one of my favorite stories. I've done sermons on this story. So, and if you've been to my visioning workshops, you might have already heard this story, but here we go again. It's one of my favorite, and I think about it every year this time of year. Now this story happened over 20 years ago. I was really into Julia Cameron. You know her. She's an author. She's created some wonderful books. She really is about supporting a person in their spiritual and personal creative growth, a lot about your creativity. And I had read her book, The Artist's Way, and I had done the morning pages. If you know her work, she has something called morning pages, and they became a wonderful new habit that I am starting, I believe, my 27th year of doing morning pages. Because what I found is they help me. That's one of my habits that helps me create my vision year after year, day after day. but it was in one of her later books. And I don't know which one. And it might have been because at the time I feel like I was reading a lot of books and I was just very into personal growth. And maybe I picked up one of her exercises and I combined it with another because I do that. So sometimes people say to me, I looked up that book, Cat, and it wasn't in there what you said. And I was like, yeah, I sometimes don't know how I'm combining things or kind of twirling my own thing in. But this was how I understood it. I understood that there was a ritual about really getting clear on what you wanted, about dreaming. Oh, here's actually what I want to have in my life. And at the time for me, I wanted a new career. And I knew that I wanted to help people find fulfillment. I don't know if I knew that word at the time, but really how to create what they really wanted. And my vision, I also saw my own growth as a person because I wanted to write and I wanted to lead groups, be up in front of people, perhaps. And my vision included being happy in my personal life, surrounded by kindred spirits, supporting each other to be their best selves. These are the things I remember from this vision. Now, one of the assignments in the book was to find a structure to represent this vision. I love structures. I'm wearing a structure right here. If you're watching the video, this little necklace is a structure for an event that happened in my life, not the story I'm going to tell today. This happened, I don't know, maybe 30 years ago. It was a long time ago, but I still put this necklace on and I remember how this necklace is a reminder about me being in my power. So, structures are something physical, something you can see, maybe touch, hold, that remind you of what it is that you're creating, that you want to create, that you've said, here's the thing that I really want to make happen for myself. And so therefore, here's a structure to remind me of it. So I went looking for a structure for this vision. I had a lot of ideas about what it might be. I I had some thought that it might be another piece of jewelry, maybe something that was going to represent these things, this thing that was my quest, right? So I went looking for this object and I was roaming around the little town I lived in, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania at the time. And I wandered into this independent bookstore that I loved so much. It was one of those beautiful bookstores. It had artwork on the wall too, and just books displayed. And there was a magical little room filled with children's books and a few stuffed animals in the back. And I rarely went to this area, but I was really drawn. I just kind of found my way, just like almost like in a trance, like going to the back of the room and looking around, and my head is going, yeah, like what's going to be here? But there was this book, a pop-up book. Do you remember children's pop-up books? That's where you open a book and it's like the scene in the book, it's three-dimensional. It comes to life. This was a beautiful little book displayed. It was a scene. And as I drew closer to the scene, it took my breath away. I saw something. I imagine it was this little village in Europe. That's what I was thinking. Oh, is this because of the way of the art was and some of the other things in this book? But there was this darling little town square. So there was a little town with stores, and then there was this farmer's market right next to it. And right next to the farmer's market, there was the ocean. It was right on the water. And to my delight, there was also this little fair going on. There were these mountains too. Oh my gosh, beautiful mountains. And there was this little fair complete with a Ferris wheel. Oh, I just looked at it. I'm like, there's a town, there's the ocean, there's a farmer's market, and there's even a fair. Wow. Even as I talk about it right now, I can feel the feeling of that. It captured my heart. I knew it held my vision, even though none of the aspects I had envisioned were in that picture. What held my attention these were elements, these were things I really, really liked. Like, let's say, they were values, right? They were things I love the ocean. I love a little downtown where I can just go shopping and walk the streets and farmers market. This was a big part of my life. And there's something about a fair. about a Ferris wheel. So fun, so lighthearted, and having them all together, it just compelled me to imagine there was such a place that I could someday live here in the United States where I live. That was what it inspired in me because my mind said, nah, there's nothing like that. It's not ever going to be just like that. But I was compelled to imagine that it could be. And that was what my vision was. There was a lot of saboteur activity about, no, this is going to never happen. This great job you want to do with people, all kind of lofty, and me speaking and writing books. I was like, who did I think I was? Right. But this vision, this, this book inspired me. So I put it on my dresser and it gave me joy. It kept me moving forward toward my vision even when it looked like nothing was happening on that front. And I want to say something else here. This vision and part of yearly visioning, I like to set a yearly vision. I like to know here's what I'm going to do this year. And I also know that visions can take a lot longer. They can take a lot longer. So when you're doing your visioning this year, and I'm going to give you some a little bit of tip on how to do that, I want you to keep that in mind. Sometimes it happens in an instant. I mean, sometimes I put a thing on a vision board and it's like tomorrow, it's happening. But a lot of times things take time. But slowly but surely, I did change my career path. I found coaching. I began my training with the Coactive Training Institute. And at one of the courses, which was called Fulfillment, there was a visualization, which at the time was a future self. It was about visualizing myself and this particular visualization was 20 years in the future. What I love, because that way, if we go far out in the future, my mind is like, okay, whatever. We don't even know, who knows 20 years from now, but I got in touch with the woman I most want to be. I felt my power, my light. I touched base with spirit. And I saw myself in that visualization sitting by the ocean. Every time the visualization would go on and asking other questions about what I saw, I was sitting at the ocean. And at that time, I lived far, far away from the ocean. But the image was so attractive to me, even though it didn't seem realistic. I could feel it. That's how visions work. They're about feeling. They're about, oh, does that feel yummy? Does that feel like something that's really going to make me happy? There was this other visualization, something I saw in that visualization. I saw teenagers in my house. So there were some scenes in the visualization about your house and what it looks like. And at the time, both of my kids were beyond the ages of teenagers. It was again like, I don't know, but that's what I saw. So, along with the writing exercise and structure from Julia Cameron, I now added in this information. And when I say writing exercise, that was one of the pieces. That was a whole part of this visioning that I originally got, I think it was from Julia Cameron. I didn't know it at the time, but I was beginning to live my life from a vision. I've always been very goal oriented. How about you? How do you like that? Are you one of those people? Maybe you're like a naysayer about goals, but for me, I like to aim at something and then make it happen. Visioning, though, gave me a much stronger foundation from which to set goals. Stronger in that I now was tuned into my intuition and the guidance of spirit and that support of the universe. I was tuned into that something that's bigger than me. It's more than my ego. It's more than just stuff I want or something that I think is going to make me look good. I was tuned into something that I could feel. I could look past the current reality and see new possibilities that required my goals and action, of course. But now the action felt inspired. And I got a lot of support from the universe. Things happened I could not have planned. And if I were to sit down and maybe someday I will write a book about all of those things, I don't know if I would even believe it. Some of the stuff that's happened to me. So I finished my coach training. I set up my business, my coaching business, and I started working on it. And I was working. My vision was really becoming a reality. And I put down my goals about writing and speaking on that. And I realized that's going to be a great way to grow my business as well as have fun. Well, the universe had a funny way of helping me make that happen. And I get a little choked up because some of it was really hard. My marriage ended. That was hard. I moved to California, which had lots of fun things, but it was really hard. One of the hardest times of my life. So many things happened during that time, but I kept my vision in front of me. I kept in touch with what that vision was telling me. I iterated it in many, 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 many years over years, but I kept, I kept that pop-up book. It came with me. I kept kind of reiterating the things that I'd seen about my career and who I was going to become and the personal aspects of the kindred spirits who were in my life at this time. I got married on New Year's Eve. That's what happened. There I was. And when I looked around, oh my gosh, I had two teenage stepchildren. I realized, oh my God, the vision, those things that I saw, that I visualized, although I didn't understand them at the time, they, there it was, something I never could have thought that that was going to be a thing I did. I just never would have thought it. And I was living by the ocean. So one day, shortly after my wedding, I was standing looking out the window of my home, which just happened to have an ocean view, and I saw it. There was the town below, the shops. There was the farmer's market. There was the ocean, of course, and I believe I literally gasped when I saw the Ferris wheel that had just been set up for the annual fair at the fairground that was right by the beach. It was the view of my pop-up book. I had grown into my future self. It all happened because of my choice to live my life from a vision. And again, as I tell the story, I can feel it. This is a true story. This is how it happened. I am not any more magical than you or anyone else. I just happen to be fortunate to find these clues and ways. And I am a person who pursues things. Once I think, oh my gosh, this might really make my life better, I do it. That's the kind of person I am. And then I map it out. I map out the steps. That's what I do with the people I work with in my coaching program. That's what I'm going to do today for you. I'm going to map out some steps. Because since that time, I have created a New Year's ritual that helps me see a vision for the coming year that is informed. First of all, it is informed by that bigger vision. I always keep a bigger vision in mind, how I want things to play out over 10 or 20 years. What are some of the really audacious goals, let's say, that would make that would come along with that? I keep that bigger vision in mind. But then I create a vision for the current year that's informed by my mind. It's about things that I'm thinking of. So I would say those are linear, practical. They are still inspiring. It's informed by guidance, my intuition. It also includes a way of setting goals that are right for me. I want to say that again. They're goals that are right for me. They haven't been given to me by somebody else. I look at my vision and I think, well, what feels good that would be something I could attain? Because why I like goals is it helps me feel like I've done something. It's satisfying. It's like, okay, there we go. That's something that helped me get my vision to reality, but it's more concrete. I read somewhere that a goal is a dream with a deadline. I need deadlines. I do. So setting goals is I want to do this year, and then I usually break it down. And I put it, start breaking it down into smaller chunks. Here's another piece. And this is going to be in podcast number 2 about visioning. I'm going to tell a big story about this one. But this vision, also there's the agility to pivot from what I've created on my vision, what goals I might need to go, well, that was the goal when I set out. But now that these 10 things have happened, now I want to, move that goal. Maybe it doesn't work for me at all anymore. It was just a placeholder. The time frame needs to be changed. So I keep my goals alive. I don't think of them as set in stone. I have to do it. They're bossing me around. They're telling me what to do. Like the goal itself isn't necessarily the driver. I'm the driver of what's going to happen for my vision, but the goal gives me clues and gives me something to move towards. Does that make sense? Here's the last thing, which is really, really, really important to me. And I'm going to talk about it a little, and you might find your own version, or this might actually work for you. I have a habit I call the soul search. Now, this habit came about because I noticed when I would actually, something in my vision would become a reality, I tracked it back. What helped me do that? What helped me do that? And I came up with the steps, really clear steps. So I wrote a book about it called The Soul Search. And in this book, I break all the steps down. I have worksheets. Just reach out if you want one of my worksheets so you can work this through the soul search. It's a process. You can use it in a visioning. It's great for a vision to get you really clear on how you want to move forward in the vision. It's also, for me, it's become a daily habit. I think habits are a key to making your vision a reality. And I'm going to suggest that you have a combination of habits, that you have habits that are for your body, mind, and soul. You have habits that are just fun. I have a lot of fun habits. I have habits. I talk to people like my son once a week. It's a habit. My sister, we talk once a week. And my best friend Corinne, we talk once a month. That's not a daily habit. Habits, regular things that happen. I have date night once a week. I have habit of walking every single day, no matter what. It's a real rare day I don't walk because that just makes me feel good. It gets me in touch with my body, right? So I want you to be thinking about those things when you're thinking about, I'm going to give you these steps. So in a minute, don't worry. I'm not going to leave you out here in the cold. You're going to get your steps to how to do this vision yourself. Again, there's going to be a podcast part 2. It's going to take it even farther. My latest book, Evolve Your Coaching Business, begins with the vision. I'll never forget. I started writing that book. I had a lot of it written actually, and I hired an editor, Laura Lalone. Shout out to Laura. Anyone needs an editor out there? You're writing something? Laura Lalone is first class. So Laura Lalone said to me, "Yeah, Kat, this looks great." She said a lot of positive things. She said, "But where's the vision? You're a person who creates your life from a vision. I see nothing in this book that talks about a vision." So that's how central this process is to me, to the life and business I've created, and to the help I give to others. So I'm going to give you the key components. I'm not going to walk away without. These are the ones that are like in my mind today. And I'm going to say there are nuances to this. So this is a cheat sheet, let's say. I want to give you these and I want you to write them down. You can feel free to contact me if you want me to send them to you. But here they are. Number 1, take time to see where you are. This is not where people usually start visioning. They usually start visioning, thinking about what they want to happen, what hasn't already happened yet. The trouble with that is it can put you into a very negative energy of feeling lack. And it can have you, this is the funny thing, it can have you stretching out beyond what's really good for you or right for who you are now. So you want to take a look and see, where are you? What have you created? What's worked for you? What's working for you now? Your strengths, your values, right? That which enlivens you. Start with that. Here are the things that like get you all jazzed up. And then look at what hasn't worked for you. Most likely it's things that are just not right for you. Things that you did because you thought somebody else wanted you to do it. Maybe they don't honor your values, or maybe it's something that is not for right now. And so just clear those things out of the way. So now you can look forward. Here's what I have. Here's what I like to do. Here are my values. Here's what jazzes me. Here are the things I'm not going to do anymore. A lot of times the year in review, I do this with my community. I love it. It's a great ritual, but you can do this anytime. I call it cleaning out your closet. And if you're looking specifically at your coaching business, let me tell you, if you haven't done it yet, it is time you did. Open that closet, take a look at what's in your business. What are things you've been doing that are getting you not anything really moving forward? And what are the things that you're like, yeah, let's do more of that? It's a great ritual. Clean out the closet of your business. Once you've cleaned it out, now allow yourself to dream. If your life could be exactly as you wanted it to be, like in your highest dream, what would that be? If you could be the person you would most want to be, how would you grow? Go way out there. I think this is best done with a visualization, or there's visioning exercises that a coach can help you with. I really do. I'm not just like shining you on with this. I need this. I think we need to have other people help us see what's possible, because our thinking can be so limited. So I highly recommend that you do. I suggest that you go out 5 or 10 years to begin with, and maybe even longer. And then you come back to your 1 year vision, especially if this is not something you have done. Go out and say, whoa, what could I do in 20 years from now? That's what I did with my first visioning. Then you kind of go, okay, if that's really what I want out there in that imaginary 20 years, what is a 1 year? What could I do in 1 year that's going to bring that about? So Bill Gates has this saying, I'm probably going to butcher it, but it's something like we imagine we can do more than we really can in 1 year and less than we can in 10 years, something like that. So I think that's it. That's the next step. And once you have the 1 year vision, it's helpful to find ways to stay in touch with it. One of the ways, and I do a training on this that I think is super fun, write a story as if it's happened. Write a story as if your vision is a reality. If you like writing, that's a really fun exercise. Get a structure to represent it. Absolutely. It could be a vision board. It could be something else. Get something that goes, oh, this holds the essence of my vision. Set goals that will help you make it a reality, and create habits that will ensure that you take the steps, the little itty bitty, teeny, tiny, eensy weensy steps. And like I said, I highly recommend the Soul Search. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to do a little plug here for a workshop. If you're listening to this in real time, I always have a workshop going, though. You can always look at my website and find out what's Kat's latest workshops, because I do free workshops almost every month because I just love that original vision of mine, right? Getting up in front of people, teaching, leading. It's so much fun. I am going to do this workshop, though, the one that's coming up. There's a visualization. So I have a recorded visualization. I'm happy for you to have access to that. And then in the workshop itself, we're going to do a visioning exercise, which again, if you don't come to my workshop, get somebody to help you, please. Well, whatever you choose to do, I hope you choose to get going with your vision. Living life from a vision is both magical. It is magical, and it includes practical steps that are so much easier to take and actually fun and fulfilling in and of themselves to make your vision a reality. All right. Have a fantastic New Year's. Happy New Year. See you next year. Thanks for listening.